Hello, my loves, and welcome back to the channel. This one is coming in hot, so we are going to roll right into it. I am your host, Amy Diamond. Thank you so much for being here with me today. So today's topic was inspired by a video that I just watched on Instagram, and I was like, OMG, I need to talk about this now. So you'll notice I'm not even in my regular space. I'm literally sitting in my living room because this had to come through to share with you. So the video that I was watching was someone that I've been in their sphere for a lot of years. I've taken a lot of their programs and workshops and really respect what this person has created and the work that they do. They were sharing recently about how they've gone through some major ego deaths, some real big growth over the last year or so, and how they've found their way into a new level of acceptance, that it doesn't matter how much money they have, how many people like them, how many friends are around them, they still love who they are and they think that they are just like awesome. So here's the thing that I want to say before I dive into what we're going to talk about today. I think that's wonderful. And there is nothing that I'm going to be saying today that is meant to discount or create any kind of doubt as to this experience that this person is having. But here's the thing that I want us to all understand. The first thing that comes to my mind when I see someone who is saying, it doesn't matter how much money I have. I could be making $10 million a year or $100,000 a year. And the first thing that comes forward is liar. And I want to talk about that because here's the problem. When we are in the season of expansion, when we are at the place where so many of us are, that we are in a space of financial constriction or scarcity, or we're just having enough, watching someone else who's making millions of dollars a year, who already has millions in their investment account, like they could just stop working from now for the rest of their life and be more than capable of having a very, very abundant, wealthy version of the experience of life. To have them say, it doesn't matter how much money I make every year, it doesn't create value in my life, again, is not to say that that isn't true. But for those of us who are not yet there, I think that we need to clarify this. What was going through my mind was this is how life works sometimes, I accidentally called in a very interesting experience in my life. So I think it's probably about a year and a half ago now, might even be 2.5 years now. I'm not entirely sure when I set this intention, but I set the intention that I wanted to disconnect my sense of value of myself from the money that I make, from the work that I do. Sounds lovely. My intent behind that intention was that I didn't want to create the financial expansion in my life in a way that it was hooked onto how I see value in myself. Now, this is a lovely intention, and this is essentially the heart of what this person was sharing, saying, I no longer have attached my sense of value into what my business is doing. That's what they're communicating. That is the lesson that they've gone through. But the very fascinating thing that when I set this intention for myself, and everybody's going to have a different experience about this, is that it was like the universe said, cool, I got you. We're going to honor that intention, but it's going to look different than you think. Because I absolutely was like, okay, so as my income expands, as my business grows, as my impact really starts to build through the content that I'm sharing, through the programs that I'm offering, I am going to make sure that I stay grounded and understand that the value that who I am, Amy Diamond, how she operates in the world, who she is in the world, who she knows herself to be when it's, 4:00 in the morning and I'm awake because of the Perry, right? That is not connected to the dollars that are coming in. But that experience for me has showed up by saying, we're not going to flow the dollars to you just yet. Because this is what I find so fascinating. And this is what sparked that I was like, I got to sit down and record this for all of you. It's one thing to say from a place of wonderful abundance from a place of having a business that does millions of dollars a year, having served thousands of people, having workshops and programs that are filling up regularly. It's one thing to say from that place, I no longer attach my value to the dollars coming in, because this is the critical factor, because the part of your brain that is attached to scarcity and is constantly monitoring has an awareness that there are a wealth of resources to support you. So that part of your brain can look at those resources as you're moving through the lesson of detaching yourself from creating value in how you perceive yourself to the dollars. It's a different experience than if you are someone who is struggling financially, just making ends meet. Somehow, no matter how much you're earning, you're never getting ahead financially. That space of figuring out how to understand, see, and recognize your own value for yourself outside of the dollars is a different experience. And for those of us who are in the space of perhaps there's a career expansion, a business expansion, but the dollars aren't arriving yet, it becomes even more difficult to feel our value, to accept ourselves as valuable no matter what, when we can't do the things that we want to that require financial resources. What got me thinking about all of this was, what if we've been looking at this all wrong? What if it isn't about, okay, when I have the money, then I'm going to realize that that's not fully how I create value, so I'm going to learn how to value myself. What if it isn't, okay, I'm going to value myself as I go through the expansion? What if it isn't even, okay, I'm going to value myself even when the dollars aren't there? What if the actual question is, can we just friggin' love ourselves? Like, can we just accept who we are? And everything on the outside just gets to be on the outside, and understand that we're going to learn it at different levels. Let me try to see if I can clarify this for you, because sometimes when things are flowing through, I'm like, am I talking in circles? Also, I'm getting all kinds of like spicy and hot. So let me just like pull one sleeve away so I can cool off a little bit. I'm going to use skiing, because skiing is such a wonderful way to explain an example like this. When you first learn how to ski, I'm talking downhill skiing, you're rocketing from the top of a mountain to the bottom, okay? When you very first learn how to ski, you start on the bunny hill. It's like barely got a grade to it at all. You have to almost, especially if you're like a full-sized human, you have to like work to get enough speed so you can practice turning. This is where we begin. There is an experience of learning how to accept yourself in that space. When we bring that over into real life, let's talk about what it looks like with our finances. If we are at the beginning of learning about finances, if we've never really understood how our credit cards work, how investments work, how to circulate money in a way that feels good or intentional in our life, we are at the beginning stage. So we are learning how to accept ourselves in that beginning stage. We're learning how to see ourselves as valuable even as we're creating this expansion. Okay, so there is level one. We'll get through that. We'll find ourselves going, you know what? We'll say things like, money doesn't matter to me. Money doesn't buy happiness. As long as I'm happy, it doesn't actually matter if I make that much money. These are the things that are markers of that early level of expansion. Candidly, those things that we're saying to ourselves are not the most useful thing that we could say to ourselves, but it is where we are at in our initial level of acceptance. What we are wanting to do, what we are attempting to convince ourselves of, is that who we are as a human being in this world is not inherently tied to the outside factors. Okay, so that's level one. So now you've nailed the bunny hill. It's time to hit the green runs. So for those of you who are not at all familiar with skiing, green is the easiest level. Okay, so it goes green, blue, black. Now you hit the green runs. You've got some proficiency. All right, you've kind of figured out how to turn a little bit. You're still doing full pizza. You haven't figured out the French fries, but you are building the skills. Your muscles are building muscle memory about how to move your body through space along the incline that is the mountain. The incline is a little steeper than the bunny hill, but still relatively safe, relatively approachable, and it gives you room and grace to learn and continue building your skills. When we relate this to our financial experience, this could look like the first job that you get that you actually are making like enough money that everything is getting paid. You're not breaking any records. You're not going, holy moly, like money's just like pouring into my life, but it is coming in. Oops, I hope that wasn't too clunky. I just bumped the microphone. Money is coming in and you're able to pay your bills. Now, you may not be making headway on releasing debt, but you are now able to, you know that no matter what, every week or every 2 weeks when your paycheck comes in, your bills are paid, your groceries are paid, the basic necessities of life are fine. The things that we start to tell ourselves here could be things like, I'm really looking forward to being able to go on vacation, or this is more money than I've ever made in my life, and if this is as good as it gets, then it's fine. Or I'm so grateful that I can pay my bills with ease. So there's, again, nothing wrong with those statements. You are now working at a new level of accepting and valuing yourself in this new experience, in this new arena of financial resource. Notice that there is still a bit of a focus on what doesn't exist. We're still looking at, I would like to be able to take a vacation. It would be wonderful to finally pay off my credit cards or my loans or, whatever. I'm very grateful that I can pay my bills, which is wonderful. But there's like some subtext there that says, wouldn't it be awesome if I could also build some savings? That would be cool. These statements are us normalizing this next level, but also still practicing a way of accepting ourselves. The trick is when we are in the bunny hill, when we're in the part where things are like really financially scarce, we are very motivated to move to the next part, to move to the green runs, to move to the part where we can pay our bills and we know that no matter what, we're making enough money that at least our bills are paid. That part is relatively easy in terms of us doing some of the inner work and being motivated to move that direction. The problem is once we're here, we're like, this might be okay. So now we start to convince ourselves that perhaps the next level isn't as good as it seems. So we might again double down into, money isn't everything. Money doesn't matter to me. A vacation would be great, but like, I don't need a luxury vacation. I don't need to go to like all these fancy resorts or go on vacation 5 times a year. And it's environmentally irresponsible. And people who go on vacation all the time, they just don't work as hard as I do. And their jobs aren't as demanding as mine are. There's, again, nothing wrong with those statements, but that is you actually working to convince yourself that this experience is the best place for you. Because to consider that the next level is available and that it could be even more juicy is a scary thing. Because we don't know for sure what that next level looks like, but we know for sure what the level before was. And we do not want to go back to there. It's a little bit like if you are, I don't know if you remember the monkey bars when you were a kid, that moment of letting go of one bar to reach forward for the next, there's always a little moment of like, oh my God, what if I don't make it? What if I fall? That is embedded into our subconscious mind. That it sounds lovely to go after the next level, but what if instead I end up falling flat on my face and I slide back down? Which is the current experience that I'm in, so yay for that. So this is our next level of acceptance. Then let's say we do the brave work, we go through the growth, we've expanded our career, we've expanded our impact, somehow we have created greater financial abundance. We are now experiencing a state of being where we have more than enough money to pay our bills. We have money that we are nicely socking away in savings. We are building our retirement accounts. We are building investments. We're not millionaires or multimillionaires by any means, but we're doing well. We can trade up from getting, a 15-year-old used Honda to getting a brand new Audi. We've upgraded our home. We've We have nicer vacations, we go for longer vacations, whatever that looks like. This is the next level. This level is like moving into the blue. I just did that example backwards, didn't I? We should have started with the skiing example. So this is like moving to the blue runs on the mountain. Blue runs, the inclination is a little steeper. You're going to be moving a little faster. That muscle memory that you built up on the bunny hill and on the green runs is now going to be pushed to the next level. It's going to feel clunky. You're going to scare the pants off yourself. You're going to fall more often, and there's going to be a concern that every time you fall, you're going to like die because you hit a tree. As you move through that discomfort and you build the next level of muscle memory, your body adapts and learns how to move through space. You become more clean in your technique. You aren't doing a full pizza all the way down the mountain. You're now doing mostly French fries, and you're doing these beautiful curving turns that may not be executed perfectly, but you are able to move down the mountain relatively proficiently. You don't need to stop as often to catch your breath, because everything in your physical being and your mental structure of what is happening as you move through space is calibrating at the next level. When we are feeling this space in our finances, the things that we could be saying might include, this is a really lovely way to be. I'm really glad that I can do these things. I would love to have a little more. Winning the lottery would be wonderful, but I don't know. I feel like having millions makes me a really greedy person. I think that this is fine. If this is as much as I create in my life, it's okay. I have enough to pay the mortgage, and once that's paid, I'm just going to focus on relaxing. We're calibrating ourselves into accepting that this is now our current reality, but we are still talking ourselves down from the next level. We are creating a different kind of disconnection between, say, multimillionaire status, where we're saying, well, I don't know. I feel like if, once you're there, you're getting kind of greedy. Who did you screw over? Who did you step on? What kinds of things are you not doing anymore? What kind of restriction did you create in your life in order to get there? We do this not because we actually want to see that next level as a negative experience. We do this from a bid to safety. That's what it actually is being driven by. And so we find ourselves into a different level of accepting who we are. Now we realize, listen, having a higher quality of clothes that cost more feels really good on my body. We sort of poo-poo getting, really great deals, or I don't know, going to secondhand stores or whatever, because we're like, well, that reminds us of the times when we really couldn't afford anything. And so we level up. But our leveling up, our acceptance at that level now does start to be a little bit tied to what's on the outside experience. So to figure out how to create acceptance for ourselves at that level becomes a little trickier, but you have all of this wonderful knowledge and experience, this embedded wisdom, because you've learned how to value yourself when you are just brand new and learning. You've learned how to value yourself when you are finally things were starting to level out. You could at least pay your bills. And now this is a different level of learning how to value yourself. And it comes in it's a very difficult way to describe, because it often, not always, it will come in different experiences showing up in your life. It could be that you go through something very difficult personally or in your business or career, and people around you fall away. You thought you had all these wonderful friends, but actually, the rubber meets the road and they're nowhere to be found. It could be that you go through a really significant health scare, and all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, this money, this abundance that I have outside of here isn't actually as valuable as the health that I forgot that I had. These experiences and the stories, this is the part that I want you to really understand. The stories of people that tell us, oh my God, I had this experience when I got to this next level. These things can be what keeps us at the green run level, at the level where we are just comfortable paying our bills. Because to expand into accepting ourselves, no matter how many dollars are around, requires a different level of experience. We're gonna fall in different ways. The chance of hitting a tree are at a speed that could be very hurtful are much greater. However, if we can allow ourselves to move through that, to practice at that level, still seeing ourselves as valuable, still being real with ourselves, still saying honestly, you know what, actually, I really would like to have more money because I have these even bigger dreams and desires that require bigger financial resources to make those happen. And having that dream and desire is actually the most divine part of my heart calling me forward. What it's actually doing is saying, girl, you have leveled up through these initial things and it's amazing. And now I want you to practice shining more brightly because there are people further back on the path that need your light. That's what's happening. But to stand up into that space, that's a big growth flex. Let's say we get there. We start doing the thing, we start sharing our work. Often in this space, we'll be called into entrepreneurship, it might be consulting, but we're called into standing in the world in a bigger way, in a way that is likely going to be more visible. So now we are not only learning our lessons still in our life, but there are people who are watching us learning our lessons, which feels not awesome, but this is how it is because this is what we're being called into. So we've nailed this level. We're blue run champions, right? We look amazing coming down the mountain on those blue runs. And we're starting to go, maybe I go to a black. So black runs on the mountains are the ones that are the most steep. They have the steepest grade. They tend to be the most challenging terrain. You're going to have to travel generally further up to the mountain. So black runs typically will go like whatever chair gets you to the top of the mountain, there's going to be black runs up there. Black runs are mentally very scary. And this is a very interesting experience as I was learning how to ski, was that like my husband had to remind me, Amy, this actually isn't any more difficult than the blue run that's down there, but it's a longer run and it has a slightly longer section at the steeper grade. But you've already done this. But all that was going through my head was, it's a black run, it's a black run, it's a black run. I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this. And so the very first time I went down a black run, I had a fall that like twisted my ankle and I had to get toboggan down to the bottom of the mountain, which I do not recommend as an aside. When we are at the black run, we're really pushing the boundaries of our growth. Our muscles are learning to have to move very quickly, respond very immediately to terrain changes, to people who are, still learning, kids who are out of control, things that are popping out from the trees because people are, in the trees and then they jump out into the run. We have to build the next level of our response systems that become automatic, but only become automatic through practice. And once as a skier, we master this level, now mountains all over the world open up for us. Because once you've mastered a black run on one mountain, you have the confidence to master a black run on a more difficult mountain, right? Or to go to a mountain that you've never ever been to before and go, oh, you know what? I could probably figure my way out down here. Like off we go. In our financial life, what this looks like is that we are now in the space, in the capacity of building a greater wealth at a level that can incur judgment. Very few people, especially in the public realm, are going to judge you harsh for struggling through your bills because so many of us are familiar with us. Few people, although a few more, but few people are going to judge you as you're able to pay all of your bills. They're going to go, wow, you did it. You paid your bills. That's amazing. You're going to get some judgment when you become the person who can buy the Audi or upgrade your home or goes on a luxury vacation because your income has increased to such a degree. There are going to be people in the levels behind you who are going to say, who do you think you are that you get to have those things? What, you think you're better than me? These people are still learning how to value themselves in those levels. When you move into that final level, and candidly, there's more than 4. It's just how life works. But four levels is a really nice way to explain this. When you move into that final level, you are now at a place where your income, your financial resources are at an overflow rate that most people only dream dream of, and this is your lived reality. And here, the messages and the things that we would likely be saying to ourselves is, money doesn't buy happiness, but man, is it handy to have. I'm so glad that I can put X number of dollars towards this charitable work, or to support my kids in this way, or to, make this thing possible for that person. Or I now know that no matter what happens, no matter what changes in my health or, the world around me, I have financial resources that I know I am fully taken care of through to the end of my life, even if I stopped earning income immediately today. There's a different sense of having this ability to handle some of the practical sides of life, and learning how to value ourselves here is, I'm going to say, slightly easier than the level before, because you went through the really, really challenging part of like, now I have abundance, and now it's like okay for me to love myself even if the dollars go away. But the challenge, I think, for this level is not to focus it as I fully accept myself even if the dollars go away, which is great, but like I'm calling bullshit on every person who's like, if I lost all my money in my home tomorrow, I'd still be fine. I'm like, no, you would not, because candidly, we still are humans, and you are going to be thrown back into the experience of going, holy shit, how the heck am I going to feed myself, clothe myself, house myself, have a phone that I can like record stuff on and share things with people. That's just how that works. So I disagree fully when someone says, I realize that now I've got like tens of millions of dollars, but if all the money tomorrow were to disappear and I lost my home, I'd still love myself and I'd still be okay. And I'm like, no. You would get there because you have that learning and that wisdom, but I guarantee you that there's going to be a space where you're just like, what the fuck just happened? And the goal isn't to get to a place where we can say, well, even if the money isn't here, I'm still going to be fine. Even if the money is here, I'm still going to be fine. The goal is simply to go, this is just life. And whatever is presenting in front of me, whatever experience is around me, I know that I still find value in myself, that I still love myself, that I still accept myself fully. And from that place, it's not about, being this unconditional acceptance, because as long as we're saying, well, I accept myself fully, even if this were to go away, even if this continued to stay, I realize it sounds a little confusing. The goal is that as we move through all the different levels of the human experience, we keep returning to the fact that, what? I'm valuable simply because I am. I know that I'm doing my very best to move in love, in kindness, and with the intention to put more good in the world. That's it. Not sexy, not exciting, not like Instagram worthy of like, oh my gosh, you guys, I went through this and here I am. It's this space of just going, yeah, okay, no matter what presents, we're going to be okay. That's really the goal. But to get there, we go through the levels. We go from bunny runs to green runs to blue runs to black runs. We fall on our face, we break our leg, we end up going like I don't know, what is it when your memory goes away? Whatever that's called. And we have to remember all over again, relearn all over again how to do these things, and to still keep loving ourselves through that. A few years ago, it's probably 6, 7, maybe 8 years ago now, my dad had a really terrible accident, and he was in the hospital for about 3 months' time. He had to relearn how to walk, how to use utensils, how to move his body. And watching him go through that was fascinating, because here was a perfect example that he could just give up and say, well, I guess this is what I deserve, and that's just how it's going to be. But his determination and his continual choice to say, that's fine, this is simply the challenge that's in front of me. I will walk again. I will be able to use cutlery again. I will be able to move my body again. I will not be restricted to a wheelchair. Watching him move through that was really, really encouraging. Notice that it had nothing to do with the success of his business, with the success of his relationships, but he was facing a very, very distinct challenge that I knew from my dad would be way harder than challenges in his business or challenges in his relationships. This was his ability to move through space. Watching that was very, very eye-opening. And that's the goal, that no matter what shows up for us, we can move through it with intention and holding on to the fact that no matter what, I value myself. I love myself. I accept myself. I know that I'm not perfect. I'm going to fuck up more times than I care to count. I'm going to have to apologize for those times when I do it. But my goal is always to move with kindness, with care, and with love and intention to do good in the world. My love, if this video has been in any way, shape, or form eye-opening, inspiring, motivating, helpful for you, I would love so much if you would like and subscribe, do all the things that are going to help us get this content out to more people. And if you know someone who could really benefit from what I've talked about today, please share this video. I would really appreciate you doing that. And if you want more insights and some personal shares that you cannot get anywhere else, join me on the Insights email list. My Insights subscribers get behind the scenes peeks of what's actually happening in my life as I continue to expand. Plus they get early access to new products, new experiences, and hot topic. There's a book that I'm currently writing. Those of you on the Insights email list are going to get first crack at the special offers that I'll be doing once I'm ready to publish and promote the book. So join the list. The link is in the show notes below, and I would love to see you on the inside. Have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your week, and let me know in the comments, where are you feeling that you're at? Are you bunny run, green run, blue run, black run? Where are you feeling? What are the things that you are noticing? And if you want to have a real conversation about the financial situation you are experiencing and how you can move through that with greater ease, with more grace, and feeling good about things, reach out to me in a DM on Instagram. You can find me at XOAmyDiamond, and I'll be happy to have that conversation with you. Until then, have a wonderful week. Bye for now. My love, if this video has been in any way, shape, or form eye-opening, inspiring, motivating, helpful for you, I would love so much if you would like and subscribe, do all the things that are going to help us get this content out to more people.